They start out as a fertilizer company. So one of the cool things about this company is that they have really solid relationships with a lot of their suppliers. So we don't have to shop around when commodities go up or down or there's issues. We're very close with all of our suppliers. Like I said, we are made in the USA. All of our foods are made in Nacogdoches, Texas. A very small town outside of Dallas, I believe. Sorry, I'm geographically challenged sometimes, but all of our dry food is made here. Our lab is AIP certified, which is the American Institute of Baking. We have a superior rating. This is a certification that a manufacturing plant will pay to have done. Not everyone will do so because a lot of times they're not going to pass or get a superior rating. So that's a pretty big deal for us. We are not in PetCall, PetSmart. Never say never, but we have no plans to be there. So PSP is probably the biggest independent retailer you're going to find for pet foods for the next 5 to 10 years. Another unique thing about our plant is that we have an on-premise lab that's FDA and USDA certified. So we are able to test all of our foods and ingredients right there in-house. We don't have to have them sent off. So a lot of times if there's something wrong with a product, unfortunately, it's going to be found after they're probably already bagged and put on a shelf. We have a control of all of that stuff before it leaves our facility, which is kind of cool. We do test in smaller batches with the FDA regulation and USDA certified lab. We test all the ingredients before they even go into our facility, and we probe the very bottom of a truck. So if something comes in and we take an ingredient off the very bottom and it doesn't pass our standards, we reject it. So we're very particular about what comes into our facility and what goes into our dog food. They're very meticulous and cutting edge when it comes to research and development, which we'll get into here in the next few slides. Just in case I forget, all of our pet food is 100% guaranteed. So if there's anything that if the dog doesn't eat it or not working for a customer, it is 100% guaranteed to the customer and to our retailers.
Kim, where does your meat?
Moving on to the
Kim, where does your meat source come from?
My resource.
Your meat come from?
Our meat.
Yes.
It varies. Our salmon is from Norway. Our lamb is from New Zealand. All of our other chicken, pork, duck, all that is U.S. or other certified countries, but nothing is from China.
That's real important. Nothing from China.
Nothing.
Nothing. Okay. You want me to go to the next slide, Kim?
Yes.
Okay. On it.
Some of the things that make us different. None of our products contain soy, corn, or wheat. We were actually one of the first pet food companies to put naturals on the bag. We were just a little ahead of our time, but we use alternative protein sources like pork, lamb, duck, turkey, and salmon. The biggest thing in our holistic foods is the probiotic that we use. We're the only ones, or the first ones to use this probiotic. It's actually cooked in the kibble. And I'll get more into this in a little bit, but there's a lot of benefits from this particular probiotic and the fact that we're the only one. It's very important. I want you guys to remember this, and again, we'll touch base on it here in a couple more slides. We use a unique DHA Gold, which is a more concentrated form of omega. We're outside of the box for a different fiber source using citrus fiber, which is very high in antioxidants. We use a natural source of glucosamine and chondroitin from chicken cartilage, which is 98% digestible. We also use yucca in all of our foods. It's a plant from the Southwest, and it actually helps reduce stool and urine odor We do use chicken fat in all of our foods. There will be some grumbling about the chicken product, you know, if the dog is allergic to chicken. Oh, they're not allergic to chicken fat or a fat source, period. It's actually a protein that they're allergic to. So unless they have, you know, certified highly allergic chicken allergies, you're not going to have many issues with the chicken fat because it is clarified and centrifuged, which means it's spun at a very high rate to ensure that it's just the chicken fat. There's no particles or any protein pieces or anything. It's just the chicken fat. And it's preserved with a natural vitamin E, and this is a palatant for our food. It is also very rich for the skin and coat. All of our packaging is recyclable with a Ziploc type sliding with a handle on the bags for the holistic line. We do have a unique kibble in that it's 95% digestible. It's a very dense kibble. The process of how we cook our food, it is extruded, but it's in a steam flash, so it allows us to keep a lot of the air out of kibble, which can create gas and other digestive issues. Because ours is so digestible, the dog is getting 95% of what we put in this kibble. So you can have a lot less waste, and they're actually absorbing a lot of the proteins and minerals that we put into our formula. Also, all of the the precise holistic cans are grain-free. And again, we'll get into that here in a couple more slides. So moving to the next slide, I just want to touch base a little bit on meal, chicken meal, lamb meal. Meal is dried, ground muscle meat. So it takes 5 pounds of fresh meat to equal the nutritional value of 1 pound of meal. So if you see a food that says chicken meal, blah, blah, the other ingredients after that, you want to see that meal. Because if you just have one protein that's not a meal, as you can see on the slide, it's 65 to 70% water. So there's not a lot of protein in just a fresh chicken. You need to have a meal in order to get the most, nutritional value out of a protein. There are different grades of meals, just like we buy beef and ground chuck at the grocery store. There's sirloin and there's ground chuck. It's graded in the pet industry as well, from 1 to 4 being the highest. And we use the top grade meals that you can get. And even because of that dense kibble that I was speaking about, how we steam flash the food, it allows us to have a more potent protein after the cooking process. So even though it may say 6% protein on the bag, there's 70 to 80% meat inclusion still in that kibble after it's cooked. But because of FDA regulations and what you can put on a bag, we aren't allowed to say that. But just so you guys know, if anybody asks the questions, why there's only meal in our foods, it's because there's a ton of nutritional value in the meat meal versus just regular chicken or lamb or pork or what have you. It does provide a high quality, highly digestible protein. And also because of the highly digestible meat meals that we use, it goes in line with our smaller stool, less cleanup theory. Next, I just want to touch a little bit about the omega-6 and omega-3 fatty acids. These are important, again, for the shiny coat and healthy skin. They're also important for the immune system. There's a balance of omega, the 6 and 3, even for humans, that is important to have for overall health. And this, we go to the length of breaking it down per formula and making sure that we have the optimum omega balance of omega-6 and omega-3 fatty acids so that we can ensure the overall, like I said, health and well-being of the dog in each category is getting the optimal levels of omegas. So I just wanted you guys to see this, to see kind of the detail that goes into formulating precise pet food. We're very, very particular about ensuring that what goes in our kibble is good for the dog that's eating it.
Kim,
the next slide.
Kim, can I ask you a question real fast? We hear
Sure.
a lot about omega-6s and omega-3s. Are there any other things that enhance the dog when they use these omega-6s and 3s? Like, is it good for the brain, or are there any other?
Absolutely.
Because I'd like to get more knowledge behind the 6s and the 3s, if you could.
97% of all omega-3s in the brain are DHA. So there's so many different things that omega-3 does for the brain, overall cognitive health, that sort of thing, for dogs and humans. Does that answer your question?
Yes, most definitely. And is it good for growing puppies too?
Absolutely it is.
Thank
and
you.
I'll get into that in a couple more of my slides.
All right, thanks.
Just briefly wanted to touch base on chelated minerals and ester C. We were one of the first to use these. You're going to see them a lot more of the higher end brands. Chelated minerals are an upscale mineral. They actually absorb more quickly into the bloodstream. So that compared to regular minerals that are often insoluble and pass through the digestive system unabsorbed, this ensures that those minerals are being absorbed in the bloodstream and doing all the good things that we need them to do. And that is the same thing as the ester C. It's a type of vitamin C that is more easily absorbed into the bloodstream. I actually take the same thing that you guys see the picture of. So it's twice the potency of regular vitamin C to help support the immune system. We're all about really focusing on the immune digestive system and creating a healthy pet from the inside out. So I just wanted to, if there's any questions about the ester C, wanted to make sure that I kind of touch base on that. It's a vitamin C that's twice as potent as regular vitamin C, but it's like the chelated minerals, which better absorbs into the bloodstream, which is what we want. Moving into the next slide, these are the brands that you guys are going to see at Pet Supplies Plus. We have a Naturals, we have a Precise Holistic, and we have a Precise Holistic Grain-Free. The Natural line was the first line that they came out with, like I mentioned, back in 1980. The Precise Foundation and the Precise Sense of Care are still the #1 and #2 SKUs in our entire line, even with the addition of the Holistic. These are just a phenomenal, basic, natural food that targets a very broad spectrum of cats and dogs for just a basic, natural food to feed. So if you've got someone that walks in and they're feeding Science Diet or, heaven forbid, Old Roy or a grocery brand, or they're trying to maybe, graduate out of that Science Diet Royal Canin over into the better brand, these two foods, the Foundation and Sense Care, is what I would recommend going with first, because it's just a basic food. The Holistic is awesome, and I'll tell you why in just a minute, but it can be a little bit rich. So if you're going to switch anybody from a low-end food, I would start here. We use highly digestible and palatable protein sources. We use whole grains, brown rice, oats, and barley, which are also highly digestible sources of energy. We use, like I said, the pure chicken fat, the balanced omega fatty acids. We only use natural preservatives C&E. There's probiotics sprayed on this food, which is like all the other foods that you're going to sell again from possibly sold before. But there are still probiotics with this food, the chelator minerals, ester C, and the yucca. This food feeds extremely well, and for the price point, it's very competitive with the Canadas and the Royal Canons, and it's about $1.19 a pound for a feeding. So when someone comes in and they're like, well, I buy Canada because it's $33 for a 33-pound bag. Ours may be $2 more, but they're feeding a lot less because of the denseness of the food. So again, these are really nice foods to transition some of the lower-end grocery customers into getting into a natural pet food, working their way into a more holistic pet food. And this line is also a puppy, senior, competition, endurance. These aren't carried at pet supplies. There are franchise groups that have more flexibility to special order as needed. So I just kind of put that out there so that you guys can be aware if someone asks, well, do you have a puppy or do you have a senior in this line? We do, and it is something that they can special order if needed. Okay, next I'm going to touch base a little bit on the holistic food. There's three things that really set the Precise Holistic Pet Food apart from any other food you're going to sell. Like I said, the Scanidin BC. It's a spore-forming probiotic that withstands the manufacturing process, extremely tolerant of the acid and bile that probiotics fight through the digestive tract. Once it gets to the stomach, there's a pH change between the stomach and the intestine, and that's when it breaks out of that spore or seed, if you will, and starts growing. So I like to think of it as a seed that you would plant in the ground. You plant it, you water it, and then once it gets rooted, then it breaks out of its seed and it starts growing. This is exactly what that probiotic is doing. It has a longer shelf life. Even after 18 months, there's a 60% survival rate. It has 10 times the life bacteria as yogurt. This probiotic is rebuilding lactic acid, good bacteria, and it also naturally replenishes vitamin K levels. So we obviously don't use synthetic vitamin K, but because of this probiotic, we're able to help replenish some of the natural levels of vitamin K, which is very beneficial as well. So if you guys can remember anything when you're talking about the holistic food, think about this probiotic. I will touch base a little bit more on it in a few more slides, but just, make a note now that the probiotic is one of the bigger selling points. We also use DHA Gold. A lot of people think that they get their omegas from fish. The fish actually get theirs from an algae. So it also has a longer shelf life. It's the most concentrated form of omega you can get. And this is super beneficial for puppies, for their brain development, eye development, cognitive health, and then for all life stages from there on. It supports heart health, cognitive health. So there's tons of benefits from that ingredient as well. A lot of the higher-end foods, including our natural brands, use beet pulp as a fiber source. There are, some questionables out there with the beet pulp, that there's still a fair amount of sugar in the beet pulp. So we decided we were going to think outside of the box, and we found citrus fiber, which is very high in antioxidants. It's 100% all natural, chemical-free, no sugars. It's almost twice as high in antioxidants as blueberries. It also is like a prebiotic that feeds our probiotic. So those three things right there are your key features and benefits to the Precise Holistic Food. A couple of things that we added on the next slide also to this line are the herbs or herbals. We use our rosemary and turmeric for antioxidant properties. Chamomile, dandelion, and peppermint are natural digestive aids. So I like to look at this food as a very healthy, fibrous food that also includes different herbs and botanicals to help it naturally digest and come out as an end result. I mean, if we could market with poop, I think we should. We also use, like I said, the botanicals, peas, apples, carrots, blueberries, cranberries, kelp. All of these are natural source of vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, again, promoting overall health. Our packaging has won some awards with the handle and the Ziploc and the recyclable number 7 packaging. This year, I want to say it was in March, we were in the Old Dog Journal for one of the top 10 foods to feed your pet. And then also in 2010, we were chosen as one of the standout dog food companies in the Pet Business magazine. So we may not be able to advertise like Blue Buffalo, but we do have, you know, a lot of really good things going for us, and our proof is in the pudding when it comes to our food. In this line, Pet Supplies Plus opted for the stage specific, so they've got the puppy, large and giant breed, small, medium breed, the adult, large and giant breed, small, medium breed, the senior. And in this line, there's also a Wild at Heart, which is our salmon flavor, all life stages, and then there's also a flight line, which is our duck and turkey, all life stages. In the cat, there's chicken, salmon, and potato, and they do carry all 3 of those. Salmon and potato is probably going to be a little bit more palatable than the chicken, just if someone asks. Going into our grain-free, this is just about a little over a year old. We did 6 years of research to make sure that we came out with the optimal grain-free formula that was up to our standards. We didn't want to just come out with one because everyone else was. And a lot of our studies showed that some of the higher meat protein percentages in the grain-free diets can predispose dogs to potential renal problems. Excess minerals can lead to struvite. So we chose to go with a more optimal protein level. So this is less meat inclusion to manage ash levels and a better sustainable digestive in the dog. So our grain-frees have 26 to 27% protein because it's a grain-free. That being said, going into our grain-free foods, there's 3 formulas, 2 dog, 1 cat, and Pet Supplies Plus does carry all 3 of these. We have a pork and garbanzo beans, which is a single source. We're the first one with the pork, grain-free. We also have a dual lamb and turkey, and in the cat we have a chicken and turkey. The chicken and turkey cat is probably one of my better sellers right now in Pet Supplies Plus, independent retailers across the board. It's super palatable, and it is very comparable to any of the Natura line or anybody that's looking for a grain-free cat product. This is a no-brainer. I would recommend this food all day long. With the pork line, there's a lot of misconception with pork because a lot of human people don't eat pork. When it comes to pets, pork is just as digestible as white fish for dogs. It's also, if anybody is into the Chinese medicine or just Google some of the Chinese theory on protein, hot versus cold, it's a warm to cool meat. So if you have a high heat dog or a dog that has hot spots or itchy skin, feeding them a cooler protein is going to help balance that out, aka the pork. The lamb turkey is still a great option for sensitive doggies. The no potato is very important because it lowers our glycemic levels, and all of these are gluten-free. When there's no potato, there's no starch or sugars, so it's really good for cancer dogs or diabetic dogs because there's no sugars for those cells to feed on. The garbanzo beans are important as well because they support digestive functions. They're very high in insoluble fiber, which with extra amounts of energy provided by the garbanzo beans and the insoluble fiber, the colon cells can stay optimally active and healthy. So a healthier colon function means lower risk for colon problems, urinary tract, colon cancer, and then you put that together with our yellow spring pea flower, which is a higher-end binder. But if you were to Google that in the human world, it's been linked to helping with type 2 diabetes. So that's why I kind of threw in the diabetic dogs. This is a really nice line for those really, those dogs that are really struggling with it, like I said, in the cancer diabetic category, because there's not a lot of things in here for those types cells to feed on. With this grain-free line, we added 3 new SKUs of cans. As I mentioned before, all of the holistic cans are grain-free. But the ones in the green line with the holistic complete are pate. These 3 that we added are new chunky style. So it's the chunks of the beef, chicken, or pork with the gravy. So you can see the peas and the carrots. And then for cats, it's a flaked meat. One unique fun fact about pork for cats, Holistic Vet reached out to us and was very excited to see that we had a pork cat can because the amino acids actually break down more easily for cats with a pork protein, and it more closely resembles the protein of something they would kill in the wild. So our pork grain-free cat can is doing extremely well for us, along with the grain-free cat kibble. Okay, moving into the next slide, just kind of touch base on what I was talking about before. We're definitely not a very well-known brand, but I think that there's definitely a place for all of our SKUs at the Precise Plus stores. Like I mentioned, our grain-free is one of the few with no potato. We have a single source protein. We use yellow spring pea flour. We use garbanzo beans. In the Precise Holistic, we've got stage-specific. We also have all life stages. And this is a very solid holistic kibble that uses a very high-end grain-based formula. And then with our naturals, like I said, it's a very solid natural-based food for an economical price. Okay, I just want to touch a little bit more on the 3 key things on the holistic line. If you were just to Google Vinny from BC, it's not a over-the-top nutritional type theory. I mean, I'm not a nutritionalist, I'm not a vet, but it was kind of an easy thing to grasp once I read a little bit more into it. And like I said, I take the same product. It's a spore-forming bacteria that once germinated produces lactic acid, good bacteria in the gut, and displaces any non-beneficial bacteria. What I didn't know is that, by not taking a probiotic in the people and the dog, bad bacteria can calcify in your intestines. So that alone can keep nutrients and vitamins and proteins and other things that your body needs to kind of help keep the immune system up from absorbing the way it should. It can start messing with your bowels. It can start messing with your, intestines. So when you add a probiotic like this, it actually gets into the gut and starts surviving and growing good bacteria. That can break up the calcified bad bacteria. We did a study feeding this food after 7 days. We did what's called a spore count, which is the good bacteria that survives through the stool. So we tested stool, again, after feeding Precise Holistic Pet Food after 7 days. The increase in spore count in cats was 1,800% and in dogs 780%. So that percent is how much of the good bacteria is surviving all the way through their stool. And that to me says a lot. And the next slide just kind of gives you a diagram of what it looks like you've got this, the coral wall, the spore coat, the cortex, and then that DNA is the actual probiotic that releases once it gets into the intestine. It is listed as a fat product. Oh, no, never mind. Scratch that. That's on the DHA. Again, it delivers 10 times more cells than yogurt. So I just wanted to kind of give you a look at what the actual probiotic looks like. In the next slide, this is the human-grade product that you can find at Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Target. I think now Sustanex actually has a gas formula. As you can see, they come in all sorts of different variations. So what you want to see is that BC30 logo, and that is on all of our grain-free bags. Okay, now we move into our Life DHA. That's the omega source that I was talking about, and the fish getting it from a blue-green algae. This is the one that's listed as a fat product on our bags, if anybody has a question. FDA just didn't know what to call an algae, so they listed it as a fat product. Naturally preserved with rosemary. We get in a manufacturing plant that specializes in production and refinement of DHA from algae. So the process begins with the initial algae cell culture and results in a highly purified DHA oil. The microalgae they're grown in fermenters. So I like to describe it as like if you're at a brewery and the big huge steel drums, it's set up a lot like that. So when grown, the microalgae is then harvested and processed to extract a clear amber-colored oil rich in DHA. So it's also in a lot of human-grade products, which I'll show you some examples. But on the next slide, here's some of the benefits of DHA. Like I said, the cognitive development and function. So puppies, seniors, there's visual development and function. It reduces inflammation, supports cardiovascular health. It's a long-chain omega-3 fatty acid. It's an important component of all cell membranes. Both abundant and neural, retinal, and cardiovascular conducting tissues. And like I said, 90% of all omega-3s in the brain are DHA. So we're contributing to that 97% by adding this Life DHA. On the next slide, again, this Life DHA is on all the Precise Holistic bags. You can find it in a lot of baby formulas, vitamins, Brain Strong is got some national advertising, Minute Maid, soap. So there's a ton of human-grade products that are using the same type of omega that we are for our furry friends. Next, we move into our citrus fiber. Like I said, it's 100% all natural from Florida. Nothing is added. 53% insoluble fiber, 30% soluble fiber to aid in colon health. Twice as high in antioxidants as blueberries. Like I said, a prebiotic that feeds our probiotic. It is also used in the human baked goods industry. One thing I really haven't had anybody ever ask, but we definitely want this, you guys to know that it is a different citrus fiber or citrus makeup than grapefruit juice. So it will not affect any medications that a dog or cat would be taking. Sometimes those acidities can affect different medications, but the citrus fiber will not. And then I just have on the next slide, the citrus waste. This is kind of what it looks like. It goes from the white, bitter stuff that we peel off an orange to a pressed cake moisture, and then a dry mass moisture. And then one last thing, I think there was a slide that I didn't get included, but just want to briefly touch on demoing. You guys are all hired because you're professional and capable of being an independent rep. So, we expect that from the pet firm as well as Precise Pet Food. You're not only representing yourself and both of us, but it's important, that when you're in there, you're very focused on, engaging with customers in a professional way. Make good use of your demo table and the material and the product that you have given to you. A lot of times what I will do is I will pull product from a shelf and set it on my table. If someone's interested, at least I've got a 5-pound bag in my hand. I can say, here's a bag and a coupon if you want to try it today. That's perfectly fine. Just put it back when you're done. And the biggest thing is always approach people the way you would want to be approached as a customer. If they can't afford a high-end food or, even a holistic line, then try to talk to them about the natural food and a more economical line. And if they're just not interested, that's okay. Give them a brochure and just say, here's some information in case you maybe change your mind. You don't have to force these guys to sell food. It's not for everyone. If they're beelining it for From or they're beelining it for, Canada, then you're probably not going to switch them. But it's those customers that are, questioning or have questions or maybe looking to switch, get to know them or the dog, really kind of engage in, their situation to find out better how to recommend a Precise brand. Also, try to get to know your store. Get to know where make sure you know where the food is. That doesn't mean engage and talk to the employees the entire time you're there because they have a job to do as well. But, it's nice to put faces with names and be able to call each other by names and make sure that, because we do have promotions that go on with Pet Supplies Plus. So, it won't hurt to go in and say, hey, you guys have any specials or, dollars off this month that I should know about one in here today. Because that's a huge tool for you guys, because some of these foods, I've been in, they're almost $10 off. And then you've got a $3 coupon, there's $13 off. So make sure you are aware of what's going on with the product while you're in there. I'm a big one on no cell phones or chewing gum. I myself have a family, and I understand that there's going to be emergencies, and I want you to be able to, have something. If you need to step away, please, excuse yourself or go somewhere that's not near the customers. But definitely, no texting or talking on the phone while you're there. I know you've been told this before, but this is just another recommendation and something, expectation that I have for demo reps with Precise. And more importantly, I want you to have fun. I want you to enjoy what you're doing. This is kind of unique and that you get to make it your own deal. You're the rep. This is your store. Have fun with it. Do different things or whatever you want to do. You don't have to just stand behind your table. You can, do a drawing or whatever you want to do. Make it your own and have fun doing it because that's the type of people. That's what I think people are going to want to buy from. So that being said, the last slide. This is one of our furry friends that is clearly very much into Precise Pet Food. This is a nutritional, excellent formulated food for dogs and for cats. And, good luck. And definitely if you guys have any questions or need any help from me, go straight to Kathy. I'm very open. I'm okay with everyone having my number and my email. If you don't have the answer to a customer, please don't make it up. I don't always have the answer. I don't know. I'll have to get back to you or, go to their website, check it out. Other than that, welcome to Precise and Pet Supplies Plus.
Thank you, Kim. I'd like to open it up at this time for any questions you may have. You can either unmute yourself. Please be mindful of, when somebody's asking a question, not to interrupt, or you can IM and we will read Kim the IM. So we can start by opening it up to any questions. We do have one. Will Precise offer coupons for canned food?
Generally, there's not a coupon for canned food, just because we actually have a really nice price point for our can line. And like I said, especially in the Pet Supplies Plus stores right now, June, July, and August, maybe even September, they're all going to be on sale.
Okay. Someone
There's
wants
a coupon sent out for Precise where it's $5 off of the cans. And that's going on right now. It just started.
In the Pet Supplies Plus,
Yes.
it's $5 off for cans.
Yep.
I don't think we even have a can that is retailed for $5.
I think they can buy a certain amount of cans, but they do have them up at the counter.
Okay, perfect. No, that's awesome. Like I said, unfortunately, guys, I don't always get filled in on what promotions are going on, so I do apologize. All I know is that they are going on. So that's awesome that you know and have, kind of checked because, like I said, I've walked in and seen promotions that I wasn't aware that was going on. So I do apologize.
Kim, we have a question. Samples, a lot of people ask for them.
I know, and you guys, this is such a tough thing to do with the Pet Supplies Plus. They have, their distribution is brand new, and they've done a lot of things very slow. And we've done everything we can to try to get samples available for the corporate stores because they have to really follow the book of what corporate says to do. Some of you guys have the privilege of being in a franchise store that they have a little bit more freedom and can order from distributors so they can get samples more easily. But I've been to every single Pet Supplies Plus store and given them the order form that has the order and item number for Precise samples and a sample display in it. And that's all I can really do. I mean, these guys, it's really tough to get the samples that I need in there. That's why it's so important that you guys are, in there trying to move fast. If anything, just guarantee the food. It's 100% guaranteed, and it's a $10, $15, $20 investment, less $3 coupon or whatever's on sale.
Ed wants to know the shelf life of the food. Is it 1 year?
2 years. Or 18 months.
Okay. All right.
Kathy?
Yeah.
This is Carol, can we buy a bag and write it off? For the duration, to show them the size of the kibble and whatever?
Right. Kim, can you answer that?
Trying to think. I wish there was a way I could get you guys a box of samples. I just don't know. I mean, I'd have to go through my regional manager, but I would talk to your store manager, the store director. Say, hey, what can we do to maybe, open a bag and sample out, or we do an incentive program where, each month there's winners that do get a bag of food. Maybe we can try to work some angle that way, but right now I would just maybe ask the manager of the store and see what their thoughts are on, taking a bag and using it for demos and handing it out.
Okay. I was just thinking, for your company, rather than packaging, it might be cheaper to buy a small bag and display the kibble than to send everybody, samples.
Well, I mean, it's actually cheaper to do samples, but we can't get these guys to bring in the samples like we need them to. Because we have a 1.1 pound bag of samples that would be perfect for that.
Right. Okay.
Thank you for the question, Carol. Celeste has a question.
This is Margaret.
Oh, okay, Margaret, go ahead.
Is the size of the kibble all the same, no matter what type of packaging it comes in? What's, the large breed or the small? Is it all the same size kibble?
That's a really good question. In the holistic line, it is a little bit smaller kibble, like I said, because of the denseness. But when you get into large angina breed puppy and adult, that kibble is thicker, and the small breed puppy is very small. The foundation is a diamond-shaped kibble, and the Sensicare is a kibble with a hole in the middle.
Which one was the one with the hole in the middle?
The Precise Sensicare, the lamb and rice, in the pink bag.
Okay. And also, you were talking about the itching and hot spots. I missed which food you recommended for that.
I would recommend pork grain-free for the lamb and rice.
Lamb and rice, okay.
The Sensicare, yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do we have any other questions?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
I know, random question. I was actually excited to go to, I guess, a pet event. Are we allowed to do those?
Absolutely. I mean, I don't have a problem with it.
Oh, okay, because she asked me if I can do the pet event, and I didn't know if I needed to go through you guys or if I had to go through the pet firm to do that.
Who is this?
But as long as it's okay with Kathy, I don't have a problem with it.
Who is this?
Jennifer.
Oh, Jennifer. Okay, yeah, just email me where the event is.
Oh, okay.
I know Pet Supplies Plus, they have a couple tent events or, a couple summer events. I'm obviously one person. I cover 4 states. I would love to get everything, but I can't. That's why I love having Kathy and Janet and anyone else that's helping me. If this is something you guys are close to the stores and they've asked you to do their event, I'm okay with that if you guys want to do it.
Kim, how do you feel like if the Pet Supplies Plus has a nail trim or a special adoption and it would be on a weekday, would you feel comfortable with that?
Yeah, I think that's kind of where I differ from some of the other reps. I mean, weekends are nice because volume is up, but at the same time, some of these stores have higher consumer volume on different days of the week. I mean, if you guys are available and wanted to, work during the week, I'm okay with that. A lot of them do, it's like every second Thursday of the month, they have a discounted nail trim, and there's a ton of people that come in to have this done. So that would be a great opportunity to reach more customers. That way you're actually busy and talking to people. And then I think it's like it's so random, the third Saturday of every month, they do like a wellness clinic, and they'll have a vet or someone local to them come in and speak about pet nutrition. And I've had a couple of the stores say they're completely open for having demo reps in there during those times. So again, that's another thing to kind of, get close to your store director or store manager and find out when those are. If it's something that would work for you or you have interest in, I'd much rather you guys be at the store talking to people than being there, sitting there, not talking to anyone.
I had a question this morning about the coupons. Is it okay for a rep to coupon the facings of the product before they leave, or would you prefer not to have that happen? And the rep also wanted
as long as it's
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, and the rep also wanted
Go ahead.
Okay. The rep also wanted me to ask you, is it okay to leave maybe 5 or 10 coupons for the store after she leaves?
I guess it's kind of a judgment call because, I want those coupons with the reps when they're there demoing. Mm-hmm. A lot of times, people kind of take them and they use them somewhere else or, just make sure it's okay with the store manager if you leave them on any bag. But I would kind of prefer that you just keep those on your person for your demos.
Okay.
Unless the store asks for them. Because like I said, they're getting coupons and flyers that are sent out to all their customers and that they have at the register. It's one of those things that's kind of unique to you guys that you have these coupons while you're there. It's just an extra tool that you have to say, here's an additional $3 off of this $5 off special that got going this month. So I would hang on to those, for when you're in the stores to help sell more product.
Do you know ahead of time when the Precise line is on ad?
Repeat that.
Do you know ahead of time when the Precise line is on ad at PSP?
I sure don't, Kathy.
Okay.
Sure wish I did. Sure wish I did.
That would be helpful because then.
Yes, it was. I'm hoping that moving forward, after we have our fiscal year ends July 1, so we're having a big national sales meeting coming up, and that's one of my biggest couple pages long of notes to go over is how can we be better at the Pet Supplies Plus level.
Right. Okay. We do have a question. With pork being a cool protein, would that and the combination of the probiotics help with yeast infections in dogs?
Yeah, there's a lot of things there's a lot of things with the supplements that help. Even the citrus fiber is helpful for dogs with yeast infections. Actually, I sent Janet an email because there was a demo rep that had a question about yeast infection and urinary tract infection for dogs. So yeah, there's any of Precise holistic food. It's going to help with the yeast and even the Syntacare. There's a website if you guys wanted to check out. It's called the letter N Zymes. ZYNES, and they do a lot of supplements for the pet industry, but they did their own homework, and they recommend, first of all, our Synthacares are the top 5 foods for sensitive issues, but they recommend a lot of our other foods for yeasty dogs. So that might be a nice tool to go kind of pull some information from.
Yeah, most definitely. Can you talk about which product helps with the tear stains in the eyes?
It's the probiotic.
Okay.
That probiotic is going to strengthen the immune system, and just like you and I, when your immune system is healthy, you're more healthy. So any dog that has, like ear mite issues, tear stains, minor allergies, seasonal allergies, they get seasonal allergies just as we do. And when you're giving a probiotic that's helping to strengthen the immune system, then they're less immune to get those things. I've had dogs come in for dog owners. They're like, I don't know what to do. My dog is infested with fleas. Our house has fleas. And the first thing I ask is what they're feeding it. Because if they're feeding it at kind of a crap brand, full of corn and wheat and byproducts, they don't have a very healthy skin and coat, and that's exactly what fleas are going to feed on. So the healthier the coat and the skin and the dog, the less fleas and other issues you're going to have. It's incredible what a healthy food can do for a pet.
This is Bob.
Hi, Bob.
Hi, Kathy.
Sure,
I have
go
a
ahead,
question.
Go ahead.
On the coupons, can you give more than one coupon per customer if they buy multiple bags?
Again, this is one of those kind of use your best judgment. I mean, if they're switching to Precise, they're they're brand new and they've got multiple dogs and they're like, you know, I'm going to get 2 bags or 2 big bags, I'm okay with that. You know, if they're maybe a current Precise customer and they're buying 2 6-pound bags, you know, I'd maybe hang on to one and just give them 1 coupon. But, you know, I'm okay with a couple of big bags just to give them a break. I mean, yeah, use your best judgment.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bob.
Welcome.
Any other questions for Kim? Well, it looks like that's it, Kim. I
Okay.
would really like to say thank you, Kim. You're always a delight to listen to on your training.
Thank you.
Absolutely excellent. This is wonderful to hear somebody be so thorough and proud of the product that they're representing. It's outstanding.
Kim is the queen.
Thank you. You know, one of the reasons I picked this company to work for is because I truly believe they still are making food for the pet. And I think that's gotten lost in a lot of other brands that have gone big box or, you know, kind of selling everywhere. No, our food isn't advertised on TV or, you know, promoted heavily, but, you know, I truly believe that this is a really good food for the cat and the dog.
Thank you, Kim. I'd like to thank you for this.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it was a wonderful training, very informative, and I'd like to thank everybody for being on the call.
Real quick, Kathy, I'm going to send you, I found it while I was sitting here, just kind of a bit I found on UTIs and yeast infections.
Sure.
So you can send that to whoever was asking or to anyone that's interested.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
All righty.
Thank you guys all for your time, and again, I apologize for being late. You know, technical difficulties, and I appreciate your patience, and thank you very much.
And if anybody thinks of any questions you may have, please feel free to email me, and I will pass them all on to Kim. Thank you for being on the call, everyone.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night, Kim.
Good night.